Alright everybody, welcome back to the KSR YouTube channel. It's raining. We're trying to do this quickly. Alright, I guess I gotta drive. It's raining! Yeah, come back forward. Can you see the rhymes with your mirror now? Yeah. Okay. All right, well, you can tell we've got SoccerMom. And she needs a dyno. So we have not dynoed this engine. We want to just kind of run it a little bit, see what kind of power it makes, maybe dial in the individual cylinder stuff on it a little bit. But we've got LS Fest coming up, basically a week and a half from today. So we wanted to dyno her a little bit. And the first thing we're going to do is take our almost new Mickey Thompsons off and put on some used ones that I have that are actually mounted on the old wheels for my car. Wheels that aren't gonna fit now, but got a nice pair of tires over here. Roll these out, put them on, and then we can not tear up our good tires on the dyno, because that surface right there chews on the tires a little bit. The old knurling. Is it gonna focus? Yeah, you can kind of see it. But I'm gonna put the camera down, get this thing swapped, and get it loaded up on the dyno, and we'll be back in just a second with some pulls. So I'm letting it warm up on pump gas, and then we're going to put the tune back in it that only runs on methanol so that we can do some dyno tuning and keep the spark plugs really clean. Something we've never done, something we should have done. And we've got some other things we want to look at after we do the dyno stuff, like retorque the heads again and see if all of that is happy. But she's been sitting here idling for about 5 minutes. Everything looks good and happy. So at LS Fest, we're doing the drag and drive event like we did last year. And we have to idle in place, I think, for 15 minutes because you can't get in and out of the racetrack to go do a drive like through the countryside because it's so busy for LS Fest. So we're going to have to idle in place and then make 3 runs without taking the hood off of it. And that means we can't add alcohol to it. So we made a bigger tank that we bolt on like an additional kind of like surge tank. And hopefully we can find a tune-up that'll help us run as close to 750 as we can run on that racetrack. But see what the old Texas Speed 388 will do. I don't know how fast we will, or how much power we'll really try and make today, because this thing is 6 weeks, we were only running 25 to 27 pounds of boost. So maybe we'll get up to that. We'll see what kind of power it makes right there, what kind of power it took to run 750s. So Texas Speed is giving away an awesome truck that they're building with obviously one of their engines, built transmission, built rear end, suspension mods. I'll show you some video on it right now, and then we'll get back to SoccerMom once we get her all loaded up.
You thought I was gonna snap my fingers, but I'm saving that for the YouTube video where we do the built 408, built Texas Speed 480 paired with a Circle D converter. We even had Torque Storm supercharger jump on board, and for our fueling needs, we're going with an air motor fuel system. To set this truck apart, it's getting a max track lowering kit. Here's a quick teaser. So, if you're tired of your friends calling you out for having a slow car, get your ass over to texas-speed.com. Every dollar spent is 1 entry. Any Texas Speed merch or shop equipment is 10x. Don't miss your opportunity. Good luck.
Alright, so kind of like most of our other videos, I'm putting a time-lapse section in with this dyno video, and I haven't really done that in the past, but I wanted to show you guys some of the setup that goes along with dynoing a car. Now, not every car is like this, where we are installing a fresh set of spark plugs before we load the car up onto the dyno, changing the tune to put it on alcohol. There are cars that we do this with, like the more serious turbo or supercharged or even nitrous setups that we do. Those need some kind of maintenance, before they go on there, or let's say preparation before they get put back onto the dyno, because you can literally spend a lot of hours, like easily spend a full day dyno tuning a turbo car and getting it, getting all the individual cylinders balanced with timing and with fuel, as well as different boost levels. If it's a street car, different fuels with blending in ethanol. Lots and lots of time can be spent on a tune. So don't take your turbo car to somebody and expect them to hammer you out a complete custom tune for 400 bucks. It's just not realistic. So I'm actually back to real time now, but I've turned the volume way down on the actual time of the video itself. And what we're doing here is rolling the car on the dyno to assure that it is centered on the straps and the straps aren't trying to tug it one direction or the other. And then in the bottle, I have racetrack glue that is cut 50% with methanol so that I can spray it on the tires. The methanol helps keep it from gumming up the little yard sprayer. It's just a garden sprayer that I'm using for this stuff. So you put the methanol in it so it'll kind of still flow and not gum up at the tip and in the trigger mechanism. It's not a fix-all. I will say that it still ends up where we have to take it apart and clean it every few months. But pretty much everything that we think is going to put down some decent power, we go ahead and glue the rollers. Now, unfortunately, that does make a mess on the back of my dyno here behind the tires. You end up rolling around in the glue, because I don't know if you saw it when I was spraying the driver's side tire. There's kind of a little cloud because it's misting it in front of the tire, and then the tire is driving through it to try and get it around the entire circumference of the tire, as well as the circumference of the roller itself, just to spray some of that adhesive onto there. And that's been our method for keeping relatively big power stuff glued to the dyno. Literally glued to the dyno. Now with really big powered stuff, like beyond 1500 horsepower, you're getting to that point where you kind of need to look at getting to a hub dyno. I really want to take a car from my dyno to a hub dyno with the exact same tune-up in it and see what the number differences are, because I've seen some wild numbers come out of a hub dyno session, and I'm not knocking them, but I would like to see the comparison to how my dyno reads, because every dyno will read different for the same car. I feel like DynoJets are fairly consistent from DynoJet to DynoJet, but if you've been on a different brand dyno and you're trying to compare your car to what your buddy's car made on a Superflow or a Chassis Dynamics or a DynoJet chassis dyno or a DynoCom, the numbers aren't going to correlate. They're not equally, they don't compare equally to each other. It's just something that I've picked up through the years, and it makes sense when you think about it. They're different, so they're gonna read differently and calculate the input differently, but one thing that I have been very happy with my DynoJet through the years is that it does seem to repeat very well with the cars that we continually tune on. Like lower powered road race stuff that we may put 50 dyno runs on a car, you can track your horsepower changes down consistently to a half a horsepower. So that's very important to us when we are dyno tuning something, and you got to think of a dyno less as a bragging thing and more of a tool to tell you whether or not you gained power from when you started your dyno session till when you ended your dyno session. And then from there, you take it to the racetrack, confirm that the changes you make actually make the car faster. So here we go.
All right, we're back on methanol. Time to make a run. Okay, time for me to look at the data log, look at some plugs, and then maybe we'll do another one. But that was 951, I think, at like 14, 15 pounds of boost. We'll see you in just a second when we get the data log out. All right, well, the boost is still waving a little bit, but less than it was. So it was like 13.8 to 14.7, I think was the boost numbers. So we're at 14.2 there. Come out here, we're 14.5. Right clicked. 14.7, 14.5, 14.6, 14.3. So that's not too bad on the power. 950 at 14 and a half-ish, let's call it that. So we did some reading on the spark plugs, which is probably hard to tell on the computer screen. But basically that ring around the plug, is it gonna focus? So you can kind of see it gets shiny. Well, are we focused? There we go. So we're trying to keep all of the rings, like this is what I'm calling the ring, the little circle at the top. So we're trying to keep all of those with no color in them. That's how we're learning to do this thing. So running it pretty rich, trying to run it pretty lazy on timing, and then we'll just keep adding boost to run the number that we need to run. And if we can keep the thing away from being too aggressive on the timing, hopefully we can make the power without lifting the heads off this thing again. But anyways, we're gonna turn up the dome pressure to 25 this time because it was 50 in that last pull. Use these same plugs again since we didn't get any discoloration on the ring. And then we'll try again. Here we go. All right, well, here we go. I'll actually be a little surprised if it stays hooked up to the dyno, even though I do spray it with racetrack glue. but we are targeting 25 pounds of dome pressure past 5,000 RPM. Well, it's 15 at 5,500 and then 25 at 6,000. So everything's on, including the CO2 bottle back hiding in there. Put my earmuffs on. I just loaded the tune, so I'm just gonna cycle the power, re-plug up to here. Actually, I'm gonna start, I don't need to start this data log. Never mind. I don't know. It is definitely on a lot of alcohol. Definitely getting some weird dyno runs, but you can't really see that. Not exactly sure what's going on with that, but we will figure out. Woo! That'll make you cry. Same. All right, so that was like 1,130 horsepower at the tires, and the boost got a little smoother. I made some adjustments in the PID control. Boost 21 and a half, 20.7, 20.8, 21.1, so about 21 pounds of boost, let's say. So we're gonna crank it up another 5. Kind of see the spark plugs are all pretty happy still. Don't look at number 7 because I wiped the cadmium off of it. But fresh set of plugs, 30 pounds of dome pressure, and then we'll see what everything looks like after this run. Maybe call it a night. And we're trying to be real responsible with this thing. So I'm tired of taking heads off. Yeah, no kidding. Me too. And yes, it's very dark outside. It is 9:53. So see if this thing likes this pull. Read the plugs one more time and then do the same type of run where as soon as I step off the throttle, click neutral, shut it off, get a real good spark plug read, talk about it, think about it, talk to you guys about it, and we'll see where we're at. Add the boost to it. All right, put my earbuds on. Fire in the hole. done made the dyno mad. Ah, dang it. Well, my eyes. Something messed up with the dyno. I think I exceeded the run speed or something. But it felt like it ran well. I can see, looks like it made 24, 25 pounds of boost. That's aggravating. Let's see. It did sound sporty. I see 12:15, 12:18, 12:17. I wonder if I can zoom in on this. Arrgh. Well, looks like I picked up about 100. So, yeah, I think that makes sense. Let's see, 10:04. Picked up, yeah, a little under. So 12. See 12:10 there. I think it picked up about 100. So that was. Oops, wrong way. That was 24 pounds of boost. Well, let's see, down here it actually rolled over at 25.6 and then kind of carried 24 out to the end. So, all right, well, we'll look at some more data. Let me get out of this thing where I can breathe again. And we'll let you guys know what we think in just a second. All right, so I don't know what my dyno's doing, but it's really doing some weird, like this was the first run, cutting in and out. The blue run was pretty smooth, but then on the green run, which was the final run, it kind of did some weird stuff again, which I've always kind of gone by. Anytime there's a straight line in any kind of like dyno graph or anything, or even a data log, it's not accurate data. But you can at least see, basically went from 1129 at 21 pounds of boost, I think it was, to 1225 at the peak. And it did seem like it maybe carried the power out a little bit because I added a degree of timing way up top just to see what it would do. But basically it picked up about 100 horsepower and it was 24 pounds of boost, 23.6. I made an adjustment again in the PID and I don't like what it showed that time. Coolant pressure looks like 3 PSI. That's this line here. Yep, coolant pressure, pretty smooth. I mean, we're like, you can see the legend over there, so it's not even, it's almost just the vibration of the sensor, like the vibration that the engine's making, it buzzing the sensor. So, I think we're gonna call that a night. Like, everything seems pretty happy. Will's tired, he's been up since 2 a.m. because he goes to work early at the hospital. Got some interesting marks on the plug that it doesn't have a timing mark on the tip, but it does on the bend maybe. And you can see like the color changed on the ring on number 8 and number 6. So we've got some data to work through. Will be, say that a couple times fast.
He'll be working with me on Wednesday, so we'll look through some of these, look through some more data when we're thinking more clearly, but we just want to be nice and safe with this thing. May torque the heads again just to see if anything's weird there. But I think it's a success.
Yeah.
Still got oil in it, still got water in it. Yep. Woohoo!
Not pulling anything apart. So yay.
Nope.
At least not yet.
Nope. I think we, like I said, we'll retorque the heads, or at least the bolts we can get to easy. Maybe not the ones under the intake manifold. Even if we have to pull the rocker shafts off of it. Although you do have to pull the headers off to torque all the bottom ones. That might not be fun. Well, anyways, that's going to wrap it up for this video. Appreciate you watching. Hope you enjoyed seeing SoccerMom again. And if you want to see her in person, LS Fest in Bowling Green, Kentucky, next weekend. Whichever day that is. I guess it's the first weekend in September. Right? 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, something like that.
Weekend after Labor Day.
Oh yeah, because this is the first weekend in September technically. Okay, second weekend in September. Anyways, thanks for watching, subscribing. See you guys next time.